Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lii Borossy. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about my multiple sclerosis diagnosis story.
Cause the best thing about it is I know I'm coming back.
I will be sharing with you guys today how I got my diagnosis and what the road looked like for me. I know that many of you out there are still waiting to get diagnosed, and some of you have been on this journey for a really long time. I think I was quite lucky in the sense that when I sought help, it didn't take too long before I actually got my diagnosis, but I know that I could have had it like maybe even half year sooner if I would have made it to my first appointment with my neurologist. But more on that note in today's video. So first of all, what is MS? What is sclerosis multiple? What is multiple sclerosis? It's in short, I'm gonna try and explain it as quickly as I can, but it's basically your immune system attacking your nervous system. And on our nerves there is a protection layer called myelin, and our immune system believes that that sheet or that protection is the enemy, and it's attacking that sheet until it breaks it down basically and leaves the nerves uncovered and unprotected, and that can damage the nerves to the point where they break completely, or the signals from your brain to your body gets disrupted and slower, and you start to experience different kinds of symptoms, things like blurred vision, numbness, problem to walk, various things, pains. There are a million different symptoms. If you know how many nerves there are in our body, then every person is different, depends on where you get the lesion. And in my case, I have many of them. I have them distributed all over in my brain. So I also have one in my neck that is quite big, and then nothing in my spine as of right now, thanks to God. I do have an active lesion in my brain as of right now, and I am in the middle of a flare-up, I think, or I'm currently dealing with symptoms, and it's quite hard. But this is my story, this is how I got my diagnosis, and more or less the timeline. So it all started around the time my son was born. He is now about 18 months old. We had a pretty stressful pregnancy with him, and after I gave birth to him, he had a few things going on health-wise, and I was very worried about him. And let's just say that I did not put too much attention on myself and my needs. I was just like sacrificing my body, so to speak, to take care of him and to be meeting all of his needs at all time. Looking back, maybe I overdid it. Not saying like I shouldn't have taken care of him that way, but if I would have listened to my body a little bit more closely in the beginning, maybe I would have sought help sooner. But anyway, I want to say a couple of months postpartum was when a few of my symptoms, or that flare-up that later led me to seek help, really started. I know that I have had episodes earlier in my life, but nothing was certain. But looking back, I can recognize signs now that I was not able to see earlier. And I was talking about my symptoms in a previous video where I basically tell you all about the symptoms I have experienced and the ones that I'm currently still dealing with. I will link that video down in the description box, so you can check out that after you're done watching this if you haven't already. But a few of the first symptoms were loss of sensation and a lot of like numb patches and severe pain in my arm that later never went away, and I'm still dealing with that. But fast forward to about 5 months postpartum, or between 5 and 6 months postpartum. So last summer we went to Sweden, and I realized that one of my toes fell asleep, and I had a feeling of numbness going from or starting in my toe and then traveling up my legs, and a week later I had no feeling in my legs anymore, and my balance was completely off, and I basically was not able to walk. I described it in detail in my last video if you want to see, but at this time, or at this point, I really needed to seek help, and I started by going to a chiropractor, which is my friend, and she recommended me to go to the doctor. I did not listen to her. I went to a specialist in back issues, because I have back problems from before. I'm suffering from scoliosis, and I have been all my life, and I was supposed to start rehab to try and strengthen my back again, and I called him directly because I was sure that I had a pinched nerve. Now I'm laughing because I have been saying trapped nerve. I think I'm confusing the Spanish language and the English language here. When I say trapped nerve, I mean a pinched nerve, and I know I have said that expression many times. One of you were commenting and asking me if that was what I meant, so I'm just clarifying now that yes, I mean a pinched nerve. Anywho, I was just certain that I had a pinched nerve somewhere in my back or in my neck, and I blamed everything on my scoliosis, and I thought I was suffering from postpartum complications. And that's why I was wanting to go directly to him to be able to start rehab and to strengthen my body again. So I went to him. It took a while before I got the appointment. I think I got it after a few weeks, and by that point I was able to walk again, but I was still suffering from imbalance, and I had loss of sensation and a lot of numbness and tingling feelings and many symptoms. And I described all of my symptoms to the specialist, and he took a long time with me. He did a few tests, like balance tests, and he would touch areas of my body, asking me if I felt it the same on the left side as in the right side, and I did not. And by the end of the exam, he told me that he wanted to send me to a neurologist, and that he wanted me to have an MRI. And I got super scared, thinking that, okay, I have a brain tumor or something. That's where my mind went. And I think that I'm not alone with thinking that. MS for me, or multiple sclerosis for me, was never in the cards. I have no experience with that. I don't know anybody with MS, and the signs for me was not there, because I have literally no idea what the symptoms of MS was. So I was immediately thinking, like, I have a brain tumor for sure. If he wants to send me to a neurologist, what else could it be? And I got super scared, and I didn't really want to go, so I just brushed it off, and I went on with my life, and we had many things going on at that time, and I actually missed my appointment. I was supposed to go in December around Christmas time, and I didn't. My grandfather passed away in January, and my son had his first birthday, and needless to say, we were very busy. And I just brushed everything to the side, and thinking like, well, I'm doing better now, so it must be not something that's so, it can wait, basically. And then I got a notification saying that I had an MRI coming up. This was in April, and I went to see, I went to the appointment. I had an MRI done. I even have a vlog from there. I will leave a playlist down. I don't know what to call it yet, but all my MS type of videos, I will leave it down so you can get caught up if you wish to. So I had my MRI done on my neck, my spine, and my brain, and it took a really long time, and I was very scared, and I had claustrophobia, and it was very hard for me. But anyway, I did it, and I was like, okay, so that's done. And then I got a message just a few days later saying that I needed to come in for further testing, and I had no idea why. They wanted to do this test where they put electrodes to your scalp, and then they stimulate with electric impulses to see how your nerves react. And I still didn't understand what they were looking for. I still did not know that they were searching for signs of MS. I thought they were looking for a pinched nerve or a brain tumor or things related to my back. And I remember when I went to that appointment, it was really long. I hear the doctors giving me a few comments like, "Oh, but are you a mother?" "Yes, I'm a mom." "Okay, how many kids do you have?" "Well, I have 2, but I've been pregnant 3 times. And one of them said, "I think you did a good thing getting pregnant as young as you were." And then he left it at that, and I felt like that was a weird thing to say, but I felt like, well, I suppose that with scoliosis, your back gets worse with every pregnancy and delivery. But anywho, he was not referring to that. Because in my papers it says multiple sclerosis, that they are looking for signs of that, but I didn't know. And a few other things, and they were just feeling sorry for me and saying a life with pain is not easy to live, or something like that. They were making these weird comments, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together still. And I was just like, well, it is what it is. Anywho, I left that appointment thinking that I suppose that the specialist, the rehab guy, will call me again to ask me to come back, and he never did. And they told me that the results of the MRI and the second test were supposed to be done in 2 weeks, and if nobody called me, I should call my healthcare provider and she would have the results. So I waited longer. I waited 3, almost 4 weeks before I asked to see my normal healthcare provider, like my house doctor, as we say. I went to her, and she took a look in my papers, and she was very quiet. And I didn't know why, and I said, because yes, the one doctor that did the last test, he said, "Are you aware that you have hernias?" And I said, "Yes, and I believe that I have more than one," because I thought I did. Nothing else. I went to her, and she was very quiet, and I said, "But what about my hernias?" And she didn't want to say anything about that. It was like she didn't care too much about that. And she said, "Yeah, but no, it's you had an appointment with a neurologist, so why didn't you go?" And I said, I was very confused at this time, and I said, "Really, I didn't realize that I missed it." And I did know that I had missed it, but I had forgotten about it because I don't know, I had done all these other things. And she says it's very important that you go to see the neurologist, and he's the only one who can give you a diagnosis. I'm not in a position where I can give you a diagnosis. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, spit it out, woman. Can you just tell me what they are looking for? And she said, "Yes, you are being tested for multiple sclerosis." And I felt like I was just everything. I could feel my world crumbling down. I felt cold, and I felt like, is she joking me? I had Caesar outside with both the kids waiting for me. I was just popping in to see my doctor to see how my hernias was doing, if I had a lot of them or if I need the operation to fix that. And she tells me that I am in fact being looked at to see if I have multiple sclerosis. And I went out, and she said, "Yes, because if that's the case, then you're gonna have to start a treatment very soon to stop this disease from making more harm." And that's how she left me. And I went outside, and she gave me the papers where everything stood and all the doctor information that I don't understand. I took the papers, I went out to Caesar, and I started crying. And he says, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "No, this is not good." And he was shocked, and I was shocked. And he said, "But what do you mean? Do you have hernias?" And I said, "Look what they are searching for, or look what they are investigating me for," or I don't know how to say now. And he read the words also multiple sclerosis, and he said, "But what?" He didn't understand either. And I said, "Yeah, this is what they think that I might have." And we were both in disbelief, and we were like, "No, but this cannot be." We went home that day, both in shock, and Caesar went to work. He works nights, so he went to work that night, and in the morning he had left me a note, or if he sent me a message, I don't remember which one it was, saying that he was praying to God that this could not be happening. He said that of course you cannot have this, you don't deserve this, you are way too good for anything like this to happen to you. That was his feelings, and of course nobody is too good or too it can happen to anybody, so I feel like, why not me? Of course I don't want to have this diagnosis, not at all, but I also don't want anybody else to have it, so it is what it is. And then I got the call to go and see the neurologist, and this time I went. It was a few weeks later, and we just said that before I have seen the neurologist, we are not gonna say we're not gonna think that I have a diagnosis before everything is confirmed. So we were just living life as normal, trying to not think about it. This was a very stressful time. I was with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, just thinking about me in the future might end up in a wheelchair. That was the only thing I could think about. And he told me, don't Google anything, don't try and investigate on your own, you're only gonna get more scared. And I think I lasted about 24 hours before I started looking, and then I started reading about it and I got super scared, and I did all the mistakes that you do when you want to know something. And then the day came, I went to the neurologist and I sat down with him. It was a little bit difficult for me to understand everything because obviously my native language is Swedish and I'm living in Spain, so I'm going to see a Spanish doctor and he's speaking Spanish to me and I understand what they're saying, but it's doctor language. So doctor language in Spanish with he has an accent. He's not born in Spain, he's from somewhere else. And so it was quite difficult for me to understand everything. But thankfully, I had done my research a little bit. So a few of the words that he was saying, like for example, lesion. Lesion in English, I didn't have any idea what that meant either. But lesiones and lesions are the same thing. So after doing some research, I could understand that. And there was a few other words that he said that I could understand thanks to having done my research. And he told me that I had a disease called decimalisante or something like that, which is like the general name. I think that's what I think that means autoimmune disease, but not sure. But anyway. And he said with characteristics of multiple sclerosis. He says that in your MRI it shows that you have a lot of lesions. It shows that you have lesions in various parts of your brain and in your neck. Nothing in your spine by now, but I can tell you that you have multiple sclerosis. And I was shocked and I didn't want to believe him, and I said, but can this really be true? Like maybe you're making a mistake. And he said, no, this is no mistake, but we will need to do a spinal tap to confirm, because there are various tests that they need to do. He also did the same exam to me that the first specialist with the back, like the rehab guy, did, and I realized in that point that he was doing that exam with me the first time. And I was doing better this time than I did the first time, because obviously my flare-up had calmed down a little bit. Now I'm like suffering more from some of the symptoms that will not go away than the actual flare-up. So I was doing better in the exam, but still I had a few issues and I deal with a lot of pain. Mainly the pain and numbness is bothering me at the moment. And he said that I'm gonna have you do a spinal tap, and then you're gonna have to do a few tests more, and you need to take a few vaccines to be able to start treatment. And I remember asking him, do I really have to go on treatment? Do I really have to take medicine? I'm a person who really do not take well with medicine. Usually I have a lot of side effects, and if I have a migraine, then I might take like a paracetamol. But if I don't have a migraine, I will not take a pill for headache. Like, I'm this kind of person. I rarely take medicine. So that was my initial thought, like, do I really have to take medicine? And he said, we will evaluate and we will see what you decide. And I just left the appointment in shock, and I had to deliver the news to my fiance again, saying in fact that yes, he's confirming that he believes that I have MS and that I have lesions and all of that. And it didn't take well with us. I was in disbelief, Caesar was in disbelief. I think Caesar was trying to grasp onto the hope that he could be wrong. But later on, when we have seen the MRIs, we know that he was not wrong, and that he could not have been wrong. There are too many lesions for this to not be going on. Many things happened after that. I had my spinal tap, and I think that's one of the worst things that I have gone through in all of my life. I had huge complications after, and I ended up in the hospital. I was 11 days in my bed, unable to get up or move because of the pain that I was suffering from. You can get a terrible headache afterwards. It's called something that I can't remember now, but if you imagine a migraine but 10 times worse, and every time I would just tilt my head a tiny bit up or try to sit up or just elevate my head a tiny bit, I would either pass out or vomit from the pain. And after a week I went into the emergency, so I stayed an extra 5 days in the hospital. And I have a vlog about that also, not being all that, it was not a vlog of all of that time, but it's a vlog covering that experience, so I can have that linked also. But it's not normal to have that reaction, but in my case they had to try 6 times before they could get any fluids out, so it was like I was recovering from 6 different spinal taps. Cheers. Yeah, worst thing I've ever done. And I remember telling him, it was my neurologist who did it also. And I remember telling him, just take what you need because I will never do this again. And he said, I will never do this again either. Even it says in my report that it was a traumatic experience for everybody. And I'm just laughing because it's just my luck, you know. So after that, I recovered from that, I had to have one more MRI because when I was in the hospital, they wanted to make sure that I was suffering from side effects of the spinal tap and not another flare-up. So I had to stay extra 2 days only for the MRI and the results of the MRI. And then they called me to let me know that there was not really a change with my lesions, so that was a good thing. So we knew that it was actually side effects of the spinal tap that I was suffering from. And then I got to see my neurologist again, and then is when I was able to watch my actual scans. Like, I asked if I could see the lesions. I was asking if I could see my MRI scans, and he showed it to me. Because I'm that kind of person, I need to see something to believe it. And Caesar was with me at the appointment. I think we were 45 minutes talking to the doctor. And now we are like in the between phase where I have to make a decision if or what treatment I want to start. And I feel very confused because I feel like I don't really want to be on treatment. But I also know that I don't want to get worse. So he was saying to me that his recommendation is that I go on a pretty aggressive treatment. And that's against everything that I believe. But I have to listen to him, and we shall see what more he will explain to me next time I see him. But in a few days I have to go in to get vaccinated for various things. They made a test if I was or have been in contact with anybody that has tuberculosis, because if I would have had it latent in my body or in my system, if I would have gone on the treatment that he's thinking of giving me, that would have been like provoked to, how do you say, start or whatever. And that scares me. I'm like, it's like scary experiments, I feel like. But I have a small clip of me being there to do that test, and I will insert it here, I think. Okay, so we have just been in the hospital. I thought today was gonna be a day where they give me vaccines for various things, but ended up being a little bit different. What happened was that the lady told me that the plan for me, I'm telling Caesar also now, as while I'm recording this, so I don't have to do it twice, because I will forget. She said, first of all, she asked me if I knew if I had been in contact with anybody who has had tuberculosis, and I said, I don't know, I don't think so. And she said, we need to make a test to see if you have been, and if that test come back positive, you need to take a treatment that is like 6 months long. It's like take medicine for tuberculosis for 6 months.
Yeah, but they did a test, and the test was positive or negative?
We will know that on jueves, Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
So this thing I have on my arm here, you can see the puntitos.
Yeah.
They injected some kind of I don't know what.
I know what it is. I did.
You have done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. They inject something under your skin, and if your body reacts to it, then there is a high chance that you have been in contact with somebody that has tuberculosis.
Pero no entiendo por qué hoy en día nadie tiene tuberculosis, entonces es un poco ridículo.
I cannot see. But also I had to leave a blood test to confirm. So if both of those two things come back negative, then I don't have to worry. If one of them come back positive, or if it comes back positive, I need to take a treatment for tuberculosis that is like 6 months long. No, but it's because if they want to put me the treatment for MS, then the immune system baja, and she said that if you don't put this treatment and if you have it latento, se puede empezar, then it can be brought to life. So it's very important, of course. And then she asked me about all the vaccines that I have had in my lifetime, and I said I don't remember all, and that's also why they wanted to do the blood test to know for what sickness I have protection and for what not. And when that test come back on Thursday, then we can make, she and I together.
You will call me?
No, I have to come here at 9:30 in the morning to go back to the place I just was.
El jueves.
Yeah, or somebody. But anyway, what I was gonna say. Yeah, and in that moment they're gonna decide exactly what vaccines they're gonna put, because there are some vaccines that you cannot take when you're on treatment, and there are other vaccines that you have to take beforehand because your immune system is suppressed when you're taking treatment. So it's all very important, and I understand that it's all very important. But when she was asking me, I was getting emotional because everything of this is new to me, everything is stressful to me, and I said I am scared of all these kind of things. I don't like to experiment with drugs and that kind of thing. So for me this is traumatic. And she said, we don't have to put you any vaccine today if you don't want.
Yeah.
She said, let's wait. She was really good. She stopped everything she was doing. She looked me in the eyes and she was trying to wait. Okay, to calm me down. And she said, we do this today, and jueves, when you come back on Thursday, we will make the decision based off of the results, what vaccines you need to take and what you can choose not to take.
Okay.
And that's what happened today.
Good.
Okay,
That's a lot.
sum up. But yeah, this is a wild ride, you guys. This is a crazy ride to be on, and if you are like me on this road, on this journey to get your diagnosis, or if you have been diagnosed, please share your experience and share your opinions and thoughts about treatment, because I feel quite like confused, and I value your opinions and your knowledge and experience. So leave me down in the comments what your experience are, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask, and if I can help you in any way, just let me know. I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm trying to find comfort in knowing that there are a few things that I can do to help my situation. There are a few things that are beneficial for people with MS that you can implement to try and help yourself and your symptoms and your prognosis for the future. And I will be talking about that in my next video, I think, because this is getting very long. But I want to end with a few questions that Caesar had for the neurologist, and he told the neurologist, he said, okay, so if we are talking about disability, if you look at her scans and her symptoms and her case, when do you believe she will have noticeable disability, like problems to walk or I don't know, noticeable disability? And he said in more or less 15 years. And I remember thinking that that's a very short time, and that's why I was very stressed to make a decision regarding the medication. And I think that's why he wants me to be on a strong medication, because he wants to nip this in the butt now, and I appreciate that, but we shall see. As of right now, I'm like, I can deal with my pain. I'm accustomed now to this pain. I have had this pain in my arm for more than a year, and it's like I have adapted to it. I have learned to ignore it. I would scream if somebody just brushed against my arm for the first few months, but now I'm like, you know, I manage through. And I don't know what scares me more, the disease or the treatment, to be honest. But yeah, that's how I got my diagnosis. And in one sense, I'm happy that I have it, because now we know what it is. Although the doctors don't know exactly what is MS, or they know what it is. They believe that they know what it is, but they don't know what causes it, and they don't know how to treat it. It's an incurable autoimmune disease that will leave you more or less disabled. And that's just mind-blowing to me, to sit here at 32 with 2 kids knowing that that's my future. It's not what I had planned. It's not what I had envisioned for my future. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to change that. And I know that I will be okay. But it's not gonna be easy. So that's my final thought for today's video. I thank you for being here, sticking with me and watching till the end. If you watched it till the end, let me know. But don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. And if there is any other thing you want me to cover, please let me know down in the comments. But thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of this journey. I am so sorry if you're going through the same thing. I'm sending you all my love and my strength, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.